Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Tamika and I go by she and her pronouns. And today I'm just wanting to share with you a couple of updates and things that have been happening. I spent a good chunk of the morning doing nuclear medicine testing in order to figure out what's going on in my joints, all over my body. Even though you all see me outside on a regular basis, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm A-okay and that I'm not in pain. The moving, it really does help to actually mitigate some of my pain symptoms. So I just wanted to share that piece because it's important to follow up and to do all those tests, and I know how exhausting mentally and physically it can be. The other thing too that I want to talk about is that today is the municipal election across the province of Ontario. And the city that I live in, there are no black candidates on the ballot whatsoever, even though it likes to call itself the most culturally and racially diverse city in the country. The representation of the council certainly doesn't look like that. And they've had issues here with anti-black racism with councillors, for example. And then councillors who wouldn't even get off council after behaving in ways that were totally inappropriate and disrespectful and discrediting the black community. So if you haven't done so already, cast your ballot. Make sure that you vote. Try to get to know a little bit about these candidates and what they're about. And because they're local, they're accessible, we can hold them to account. And in 4 years, they're not holding up their end of the bargain, we can vote them out. But it's really important because when we're going through a lot of sickness and illness and pain, especially as black women, it's important to know that there's a support system in place that's there to cradle us, if you understand what I'm saying. Not one that's there to menace you and tear you apart. Today I was fortunate the technician was a young black lady and who did an excellent job. It was a very long procedure and test. It's almost about 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours, and she did an excellent job of walking me through it, and I felt really comfortable being in her presence. And those are the little things when it comes to accessing healthcare that I mention. Oftentimes, I know when I've tried to access services, just because of the way that I show up, I'm treated differently, and I can see that versus the way somebody else who is next in line is treated. So it's really important to recognize that when you see those small injustices, when you see those ways that we're being excluded, or you don't see any representation at all, to call it out, to speak up. I've gone to a point where I am very sensitive, so I don't have a problem speaking out. I'm happy that today I had someone who was representative of my community to do this test. That was a very long test, and I had to be up early enough to get up to be prepared to go there, to commute, and then to come back. It's a 2-part test. They give you a radiation injection, and then you got to come back about a couple of hours later for the next part, which lasts about another hour. So it wasn't something that's simple and straightforward. And the good part was I felt that in that space I felt safe. And that is something that is not always achievable for us as black women in many spaces, whether it's in the healthcare space. I speak a lot about the healthcare space because I spend a lot of time there. In the workplace, it could just be around housing. I apologize, everyone. Sorry about that. It could be affected by housing. You could feel that way when it comes to interacting when you're trying to maybe purchase or sell a home, when you're trying to interact with your landlord. Like it's a feeling. You know when you're being tolerated versus welcomed and accepted. And if we don't speak up and use our voices, then the behavior will just continue and nothing really will change. We also have to recognize that the social change happens gradually and slowly, and that's not really the exciting and sexy part. We want to see the change right away, and I know that I do because I'm interacting with this healthcare system. I'm dealing with having to be put on wait lists, having to be ignored, having to take months and months and months for the doctors to recognize that my condition is serious enough that I need further investigation. So I empathize with when it comes down to the fact that we're not getting the care that we need and we're not feeling safe in a lot of these spaces. So I wanted to say today the importance of recognizing that we can find safe spaces. It can happen. We can make them happen and we can make it a priority. So if you haven't already done so today, I would advise you to come out and get out and enjoy the weather. We're going to have the last of these fall days. But please also go out there and vote and cast your ballot. And as I always like to say, remember to listen to Black women, amplify our stories, recognize that we are important, we are valuable, we are loving, we are lovable, and we are worthy. And if you're an ally, you will amplify our voices and our stories without any hesitation. Thanks, everyone. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.